Show and Belly Up Fantasy Live.
Let's go to the pick here. Terrace Marshall finally off the board.
All the NFL fantasy football and pick betting analysis you could ever need through this draft coverage.
So the Detroit Lions are the ones on the clock. They're going to make their pick soon, but the Giants, I'm getting word, just traded with the Miami Dolphins from 40.
It's time for your coverage to start now.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Belly Up Sports' NFL draft coverage. I'm your host, Dan Mader, joined here with Chris Dahauer. Chris, we have made it now to the back half of the first round, and I have not had to pee. That is my biggest accomplishment so far
That's
tonight.
an achievement.
But you know what? This is what's crazy about the NFL draft. As a host, I have so many storylines in my head that I want to talk about. We can only talk about one at a time as picks are coming in, and it's driving me up a wall right now. The first thing we got to talk about is who's joining us right now. So we got Jared from Corner Booth. We got Andrew from Divots and Pivots, and we got Kev from Quad on the Tailgate. Fellas, thanks for joining the show. How are we all doing?
Oh, Dan, I am over the damn moon. I'm feeling so good. The cowboy hat's coming on. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, yeah, you Philly fan.
How does that work with being an Eagle fan, but you're having the cowboy
It's a Western hat.
hat?
It's just technically a cow. I also dance in the glory of my and the death of my enemies. So listen, if
I'm gonna
Kevin
So the
You
Chiefs
kidding me?
The Chiefs just traded up with the Patriots.
What?
And now the Chiefs are going to be on the clock. So, I mean, this is typical for the Patriots to trade back. There's no shock there. I think the question now becomes, and Jared, since you're introducing stuff, we'll kick it right to you. What are the Chiefs trading up for?
I think the Chiefs, like, all the big wide receiver names are off the board now. Treylon Burks was the last one. They can still get Sky Moore at the back end of the first round, regarding they didn't trade both their picks away. I think they go get an edge rusher. I think Jermaine Johnson's coming off the board finally.
I think it's either Jermaine Johnson or I think it's Tyler Linderbaum. It's going to be one of those two. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
Let's introduce Andrew here. Andrew, what's your thoughts on the draft so far, man?
This was my fear. My fear.
Andrew's a Patriots fan, so that's why I had to kick it over to him.
Every fucking year.
Look, they didn't do it last year, which was the important one.
I stay up every year for the draft, and they just fucking trade to the. What do they trade to? What pick?
All right, so I do have the details of that right now. So the Chiefs traded their pick 29, 94, and 121 for the Patriots' 21st pick. So the good news is the Patriots are still in the first round as of right now until they trade out again later on tonight.
Yeah, they're going to trade that thing back for like 4 fifth-round picks and then take a punter D-end combo from a D3 school none of us have ever heard of, or an NIAI school, and then they're going to try and convert him to a wide receiver, and he's going to end up getting 100 catches in a season and become a Super Bowl MVP.
No, you forgot the lacrosse player from Rutgers. That is going to happen.
That's their second round pick.
Yeah, that's their second round pick. Yeah. No, this was my of all years for Belichick to freaking squander this and trade out of the first round. Are you kidding me right now with trading away the 21st pick when you need top-end talent on the New England Patriots? Come on. Oh, my God.
All right, Chris, I'm trying to keep up with the sports betting on the side here. So we're jumping ahead to pick 25 right now. Defensive player minus 185, offensive player plus 150. How are we feeling about those odds at pick 25?
Who's pick at 25?
It's a great question.
Right now,
it's Buffalo. I think it's Johnson.
It's the Bills. It's the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, Buffalo.
I think it's going to be. Ooh, that's a tough one. I probably go offensive player. I think they do take the running back. But with some of these guys falling,
yes, Chris.
There's a corner they might look at as well because they definitely have a hole in the second corner.
I think that's why Vegas is now making it minus 185 for the defensive player. I'm still on the board that I think they take Breece Hall, so I'm going to put my money on plus 150 for the offensive player. That's what I'm going to do there.
Two mock drafts, Dan.
Two
mock drafts. I had a Breece Hall going to Buffalo. That is my home run. I mean, also I can see them taking Andrew Booth as well out of Clemson. I think he fits perfectly across the way from Tre'Davious White. but I think
Booth or Gordon. I could see him go in that direction as well. So
Yeah.
that's why it's not out of the woods yet.
Agree.
The Brees Hall pick makes too much sense for Buffalo, considering what they already have between Singletary and Moss and the rest of that offense. The Brees Hall pick just makes too much sense. If he's still there, I don't see how they don't pick him.
They need a guy
Chris,
who can
from a
fall forward
fantasy-
for 6 yards.
Chris, from a fantasy standpoint, if Brees Hall were to go to Buffalo, what would his value be? Would it be
I think
first round rookie year?
Be significant. I think it could be definitely, RB1 or at least RB2, definitely. We look at what kind of offense is going to transition out of Brian Dable's moved on. Ken Dorsey's going to be the coordinator. There's a lot of talk about them being more run-oriented moving forward. So a team that kind of has all those weapons in place, Josh Allen, a mobile quarterback, Bryce Hall has, sky's the limit for this guy. We saw Najee Harris kind of do it last year. There's no reason he couldn't emulate that in a lot of different ways.
Traded up for
Trent McDuffie is the pick. So the Chiefs traded up for a cornerback. This is you know what? I think I kind of have to hit this button.
Thank
to
you, Dan.
be clear here, the reason why
agree.
I boo it is because you traded up for a corner that you could have either gotten where you were or a similar tier type corner at that spot. I had Andrew Booth as my next guy off the board. So,
Same.
Kev, what's your reaction?
I think at this point we're kind of splitting hairs, like late first round. I think Booth's a good corner. McDuffie's also a very good corner. I don't trust Pac-12 players just as a personal thing. I've watched way too much Pac-12 football. I try not to, but when it's the only thing on at 10 o'clock on a Saturday, I'm going to watch it. So I just don't trust them. They don't play offense or defense in that conference, but the Chiefs needed defensive help. Their defense got better as the year went on. You can't expect that again. I don't hate the pick, actually. I'm not going to boo it. I'm going to wait and see what they can do with this guy.
But was it worth trading up for? I'm not booing Trent McDuffie. I am booing the fact that you moved up to get a guy that you probably could have gotten where you stood at.
If they really liked him, then yes, because the Packers are probably going to do something stupid. They're probably going to take a.
Hold on, let's talk about that real quick because everybody was talking about the Packers like there's no way they can't take a wide receiver, but now it might
Sam
be out
Howell.
of their hands. It might be out of their hands now.
I'm driving the Sam Howell to Green Bay hype train.
Yeah.
We're doing this again 2 years
It's gonna
later.
happen.
Maybe they'll take Brees Hall if he doesn't go to Buffalo.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
3
let's add
running
in
backs.
AJ
We're
Dillon.
doing this live. It's only funny because me and Kevin, one of my co-hosts, she's at the draft right now, and she's a diehard Packers fan, and she's suffering right now.
I was going to comment real quick about the Patriots trade for Andrew. Andrew, you realize, though, trading your first rounder is probably the best thing to happen for you because the Patriots usually screw their first rounder. It's usually those picks you're going to get will actually make your team.
But
So
you know
those
what?
picks
But you know what the problem with the
actually your
Patriots.
guys will be productive.
But okay, so I counter that with look at the Patriots roster right now. What they are lacking is top end talent. They have a bunch of guys who are okay, who can perform here and there, like your Kendrick Bournes who show up for a game or two, your Damian Harris's who every now and then in the snow breaks a 90-yard touchdown run. Like they have a bunch of guys who are good. They need they need a playmaker. And that's what they're missing here. The trade back to 30, sure. They might still be able to get a playmaker at 30. We'll see what they do. So I'm happy they didn't at least trade out of the first round completely. But I wanted them to at least, if anything, take a playmaker on the offensive line. Their offensive line, they've lost so much depth on that offensive line this offseason. I wanted them to make a pick at 21. The fact that they traded back to 30 is killing me right now. We'll see what they do. We'll see what they
29.
do.
Just to be clear, they traded back
29.
to 29.
Okay, 29. Sorry, not 30.
One of the linebackers is most likely still going to be there, whether it's Nakobe Dean, who I want, or Devin Lloyd. One of them will probably still be at 29. And there's not a lot of top end talent. Yes, the NFL draft is deeper than like the NBA draft. Once you get to picks 21 to 29 in the NBA draft, they're worthless. But there's not going to be that playmaker. If they had like the 10th pick this year and traded back, yeah, I'd be pissed because they could have gotten a wide receiver or something. But those are two very good linebackers. And with Dante Hightower maybe retiring, getting old, and then we have Bentley and Mac Wilson are going to be our starting linebackers. We need more playmaking ability at the linebacker position, which is something that has hurt the Patriots the last couple of years. Yeah, yes. Jamie Collins was an athletic freak 5 years ago and things like that, but it's hurt us the last couple of years.
I'll go back to you since we had to cut you off. Quay Walker is now a Green Bay Packer. They go linebacker.
Wow.
They do it again.
What?
They do it again. 3 for 3.
At least
You
they didn't
can't
trade up
make
for this one.
up.
This was like the lock where I thought for sure they were picking a wide receiver, no matter who
Oh my
was there.
God.
I thought
They
for
do
sure.
it again.
So I'm getting this. The Bills trade pick 25 to the Ravens. The Ravens trade away pick 23 and 130. That's got to be. Wait, that's got to be messed up. I think I'm reading this
trade
wrong.
right there. If that's the case.
Bills just fleeced the Ravens.
I'm gonna
and
guess
get
the
2
Bills
picks?
just moved up. Yes, the Bills are on the clock. So the Bills just moved up to 23 and traded 25 and 130. This news alert came in ass backwards. And then the
Okay.
Ravens have moved back to 25. So the Bills are now on the clock
Yes,
as
the
they
Bills
move
are.
up here. So we got a bunch to react to. Jared, let's kick it to you. Quay Walker, just react to that real quick for us.
Not even the best linebacker in the Georgia defense. Like I'm trying to figure this out right now. Like Kevin is hyped because Nakobe Dean's still on the board, man. Like, okay, so my biggest thing about Nakobe Dean was he could stick a guy up in the he could stick a guy up in the hole at his size, solo tackles. The problem with this kid is that he's always the second guy to the ball. He was the 5th most impressive guy in that defense, and the 4th most impressive guy is coming out next year. That's my problem with this. It's like they're like trying to reinvent the wheel for the 3rd time this year.
I'll tell you my problem with it is that Devin Lloyd was the best linebacker period to me in this draft class. So, Chris, what do you think?
I'm with you with Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd is my top 10 players in this draft. I think Devin Lloyd's a game changer. I think he's a guy who can play inside, outside. He can blitz. He can cover. I love him. I think this is great for Patriot fans because I think Devin Lloyd should have been the pick there or Lindenbaum, either or. But it looks like either one of those guys could still fall to them. The Packers, I'm trying to figure out where their value is. You have DeAndre Campbell, you paid all that money to at linebacker. You only can play 2-3 linebackers the most, usually play 2 in today's NFL. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell the Packers are trying to do. You talk about Walker being the 5th best player on Georgia's team defense wise. This is a guy that I think shouldn't never sniff the first round to begin with. And I cannot understand what they're trying to do. You have a huge hole in the offensive line. You have weapons that you still definitely need, and you could use extra players. Definitely, pass rushing, for example, would have been a nice player to have. The Smith kids, Smith is getting a little older. They're paying other guys a lot of money, so I was really surprised by it. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. The Packers do some stuff, but it's just a stupid pick in my opinion.
Well, and what's getting lost in all this right now? Go ahead, Kev.
I know why they made this pick. So all of our lives are fake. This world is just Aaron Rodgers' own personal hell, and Brian Gutekunst is the devil, and he's just punishing Aaron Rodgers for spitting on his family or something in his life. So that's why I think this move was made.
Mark Murphy is literally just trying to plot Aaron Rodgers' downfall.
You know what? I'm with you guys because fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Whoa! I love Aaron. That's not it. I love his interviews on McAfee, but it's at this point I'm just
look. It's great.
I feel bad for
content.
Packers fans.
Everyone likes Rodgers on McAfee. No one likes him when he's not on the show. That's the problem.
Rodgers
Whenever he
great.
speaks not on McAfee is when everyone starts to hate him.
I mean,
Yeah,
listen,
just
that
ask
press
his family or Shailene Woodley.
I think he's still dating Shailene, which is the funniest part. They just call off their engagement. My favorite part about this is like, it's like, dude, man, like, what are you trying to do? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it anymore. I really don't.
All right, well, there's 2 things I want to touch on here. One is I am utterly shocked that Jermaine Johnson's falling this far right now.
Yeah,
that's the big one.
23.
Amen.
And then the second one is, all right, guys, what do we think the Bills just traded up for?
Ooh, I don't know if they'll go. Maybe
Chris,
do
go
they
ahead.
really? Chris.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to move to get Hall, so it makes sense to maybe a corner because McDuffie's off the board. Maybe there's next corner that they're looking and try to make sure that they land one. They have on their board. Could be Booth, but I think that's what makes the most sense for them to move up for. Otherwise, none of the guys are kind of on that board that you need to move up to get.
I'm with you. It can't be Hall.
But at the same time, if they don't take Hall here, I don't think they're going to get him.
They'll get
If they
Walker.
If they want Hall, I think this is the time I don't think they fall.
Maybe they
to
don't
him.
care enough to get Hall. I mean,
And
maybe
that might
thinking
be
about
the
going
case.
defense the whole time. And maybe they look at Devin Singletary and the run that he had towards the end of last year and said, you know what, you're good enough. We're going to stick with you because we don't run the ball anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
And that's why they won't win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Or they're
I
realizing
don't
that you
disagree.
can take a running back whenever the hell you want. You can take it in the
Yes.
6th round, and you can pop off for 1,000 yards and be a Pro Bowler. As
You
a
can
rookie.
go. You
Not
can go get
everybody.
Spiller.
Not
You can
everybody.
get
Spiller
Spiller
To Kevin's point, this is a fairly deep running back class.
I
Surprisingly.
think Spiller fits the Buffalo
I
offense
disagree. I do not think this is a deep
I love the
running back
cat, like
class.
the cat at Arizona State whose name escapes me right now. Like they can get him in the 4th round, and he's probably better.
Rashad White. And you
Rashad
actually
White.
could get him
Oh,
in
yeah,
the 4th
Rashad
round.
White.
I
The
love
problem with
Rashad White.
is that he has no power as a runner, which is why I don't like him at all. He's purely a pass catcher, and that's it. Now, if your plan
they
is to
already
draft a
have.
guy like that and pair that with a Devin Singletary, that's fine. But I kind of thought the idea was they were wanting to move on from Devin Singletary altogether at some point, unless, again, like I said, that run he had in the second half of the season
Maybe Duke
was
Johnson's
enough
that
for
guy.
them. Maybe
Look.
Duke Johnson's that guy. He had a
They
nice little
might-
run towards the end of the year.
Spiller might still be there at what's that 57? Yeah,
Spiller
one
could
second.
possibly be there at 57.
Spiller could
he's
be
the
there
last
57.
workhorse back.
And he could fit their offense a bit there. I don't mind Spiller to Buffalo. If he's still there, then this makes sense. If they don't take Brees Hall here.
I have a comment here, and it's coming off screen. It's from Todd Corson. He says somehow the Packers still go 13-3, even though we always scratch our heads at the picks that they make. Which that's fair.
And
I don't
that's
know
what
if this
Aaron
is that
Rodgers
year.
does for you.
Yeah, I don't know if this is that year, but
Is Devontae Adams still on that team?
it's certainly
That's usually
fair.
when they go 13-3.
Yeah, I
Amen,
really hate.
Chris.
I really hate
Amen,
this
Chris.
pick.
Oh,
I
I
really
love
hate
this
pick.
pick. I love this pick.
All right, well, go ahead, Jared.
All right. Well, so first of all, with Kazir Elam, sorry. My biggest thing with him was his range, his athleticism. He's like kind of the discount Sauce Gardner. If you can't get Sauce, but you want a rangy quarterback who's being able to cover bigger receivers, yeah, his tape isn't immaculate, but overall, I like his tape better than Andrew Booth. It's just Andrew Booth had better numbers, and I think Kazir Elam he was a projected top 10 pick preseason this past year, or at least top 15. Now they're looking at him end of the first round. I think honestly with Tre'Davious White, it's not a bad pick, especially with where Buffalo's biggest issue was the second they couldn't stop anybody once Tre'Davious White went out. I think it's a solid pickup. I really do. I like his take.
And I'm looking at the future picks here right now too. I don't. You know what? I'm changing my opinion. I don't see how Brees Hall falls to Buffalo at 57. I'm looking at Tennessee. I'm looking at the Jets, who have 2 picks in the second round before Buffalo has another pick. I'm looking at Seattle, who has 2 picks in the second round before Buffalo. Like, there's some teams here who want a running back. I don't see how Brees Hall is going to fall to them at 57.
Well,
If
Andrew,
they
while
wanted
I
Brees
got
Hall,
you,
this was the time.
Andrew, while I got you, we're looking back at some sports betting right now. 29, that's the Patriots. Right now,
Yep.
it's defensive player at minus 450, offensive player at plus 310. Do you think it's that sure of a thing they're going defense?
Look, I agree with Chris. It feels that way that and with actually Kev, who also made the point that it feels that way that they're going to go linebacker here. And if they go linebacker and get one of those 2 top linebackers, I'll eat my crow, whatever it is, and I'll freaking be all right with it. But I'd be all right with that. But if they go ahead and trade again, then I'm going to be pissed off.
So the Dallas Cowboys now on the clock. And look, if I'm a Cowboys fan, which I'm not, but if I was, if I took anybody besides Linderbaum right here, I would be screaming for everybody's head. You have to get the interior offensive line put back together. You lose Connor Williams, you lose Collins. You have Zach Martin, who's aging and getting hurt. You have Tyron Smith, who's aging and getting hurt. If they were to take Tyler Linderbaum here, they could get back on track, do what they do best, which is running up the middle in a power scheme offense. To me, that has to be the pick. At least that would be the logical pick here. Let's see what they wind up doing. Kev, what do you think they do?
I think Jarrett is going to take Brees Hall. Just because. I don't know why. Just got the feeling.
It's the most Jerry thing ever.
Or he's going to just take Sky Moore just for fun.
Or Christian Watson out of North Dakota State.
I wouldn't be shocked by the Sky Moore pick. I don't hate that, Kev. I hate it, but I wouldn't be shocked by it.
What do you think, Chris?
John Mechie, the Pats, second round.
I think that you make a great point. Linderbaum should be the pick. Another guy I think could be the pick or should be the pick could be Jermaine Johnson. They could use another edge rusher for sure. But I do think that there's a good chance this is Dallas. They're going to make something kind of head scratching. Probably a lot of talk about them getting an extra receiver. I don't think they need another receiver, but I wouldn't be surprised if they reach here.
Especially not in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely they shouldn't. But I think that it's Dallas, so you never know. But I think Lindenbaum or, like I said, Johnson should be the picks. But I'm really curious to see what Jerry does. I like the Brees Hall thing. That's kind of funny, but it's Dallas.
Well, why don't we just draft Malik Willis while they're at it too? If they're going to be doing that.
Right.
You know what? That was my answer. Let's just really throw a monkey wrench in it.
Look, and I don't disagree with you that they don't. So, well, okay, I do disagree with you. They need another receiver. They don't need a first-round receiver. I agree with you with that, but they do need another receiver. The fact that they lost both Cooper and a depth guy like Cedric Wilson, I do believe they need somebody else in this draft at receiver. First round, I agree with you. No, they should not be taking a receiver first round here, but second or third round, I could see the Cowboys taking a receiver.
So the Baltimore.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like I said, I don't disagree with that at all. I think that the thing for me for Dallas is they struggled to use all the receivers last year and the weapons that they had in place. And I think that obviously they want to run the ball a bit more than they did last year as well. So you put those factors together, you added James Washington, and you found Cedric Wilson, you found Turner. So I think Dallas has a good job of kind of finding guys to kind of use for that third, fourth, fifth receiver. I don't think necessarily need draft capital to spend their draft capital too high on that. If they get somebody later to kind of value-wise, I'm okay with it. But overall, I think Dallas still has a lot of holes they need to fill, particularly also line and defense.
Sure.
If you are a fan of a team and you're depressed by the pick that you made today, we are giving away a Jonathan Taylor jersey that might perk up your day. All you got to do is follow Belly Up Sports on Twitter, retweet this giveaway tweet, which is pinned to the top there, and you have to register on Pristine Auction. Use the promo code BELLY. When you do so, that puts you into the tournament. We'll select a winner on May 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So something to look forward to in case you're like Andrew and you're pissed off the Patriots traded back yet.
If they take a linebacker in the first round, I'll be all right. But right now, I'm still a little mad.
It's a little steaming at the moment. So the next pick is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. They traded back. They've had a solid pick the first time around there, to say the least, and made some moves there with Marquise Brown going to the Arizona Cardinals. So what do we think the Ravens might do at 25?
Are we discounting the Ravens reaching on a receiver here? Because they got rid of Marquise Brown, and I'm not sure they're sold on the receiving core now. And, the A.J. Brown sweepstakes is over. And unless they have some, inside track for Debo, do we see them taking Sky Moore here?
I think that could be a valid pick. I mean, yes, a wide receiver certainly becomes a part of the question with them moving on from Marquise Brown. I just don't. I mean, maybe. And Sky Moore has a similar type of style to him that a Marquise Brown would. I think it's definitely within question. I think the Cowboys didn't go Tyler Linderbaum here, that's another team I think that needs to go that route. But we'll see exactly what happens here in a few moments. What else? Kev, what do you think they'll go?
The Ravens?
Yes.
I think Sky Moore, honestly.
No.
I think
Let me cut you off real quick. So we got Tyler Smith. He comes off the board. They go offensive line. Not who I would have went with. As you can see on the graphic here, didn't have him going in the first round, originally speaking, either. So a little bit of a reach in my book. I will say this about Tyler Smith. He can either be a right tackle or he could be a guard. So he has some versatility from that sense, and they need to get back to getting their offensive line up. But what do you guys think? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I hate the pick, honestly. I don't think he should be going in the first round. I think Smith's a good run, blocker. He's definitely going to have a challenge, pass protecting. He's very raw. I think he could be guard. I mean, right tackle maybe. I think that's a stretch for him. I think he's clearly just a guard. And I'm really surprised by this kind of the move of the other guys that are on the board right now. That's why I just think it's something that doesn't necessarily going to move the chains for them. I won't be surprised if that'll leak in 3 or 4 years.
Kind of cowboy guy up there up top. What do you think?
Oh my God! All right, listen. I love when. So I have 2 things here. One is it's a Travis Frederick kind of fear where it's like the Cowboys knew something we didn't, and pick like a potential like multi-time Pro Bowler who should have been in the third round. But at the same time, I look at the pick, like your projection was on point. I didn't have him. I think I saw one mock draft where they had him at 32 to the Lions. That was the only one I saw him going in the first round. I think it was like Charles Davis, like back in like February or something like that. So I think they totally reached on this one. They even could have taken Trevor Penning was still available. I don't get it.
Well, Trevor Penning's off the board. He went to the same.
Oh my God, I haven't flipped to Lindenbaum. My bad. Sorry. Sorry. Midwestern school.
It's like what the Saints should have done. That's what
the Saints should have. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, they could have taken Lindenbaum here. Sure, up the inside. You know what? I'm happy because good job, Jerry. You made my night even better. I don't think anything can top AJ Brown. This is nice little sprinkles on it.
They probably could have got him at 56, though. Let's be honest.
Oh no, easily they could have got him at their third round pick.
Look, this feels like such an anti-Cowboys pick, in my opinion. Like this is just not like. So on one hand, it feels like.
Well, is it a Jerry Jones pick or is it a Stephen Jones?
It does not feel like a Jerry Jones pick at all. What it feels like, though, is that a dedication to the run game, like we were saying. So if you have not already bought into Tony Pollard, I think you got to buy into Tony Pollard here because I think they're going to commit to that 2 running back system now that we're seeing take more of a form in the NFL right now, where we got your Javonte Williams, your Melvin Gordons, your Gus Edwards, your J.K. Dobbins, your Elliott's and Pollard. Like I think it's going to be we're seeing a trend towards a 2 running back system being more regular, and I think they're committing to that right now. So if you haven't bought into, from a fantasy standpoint, bought into Tony Pollard yet, he's probably, you can probably still get him at some value, at least for tonight.
Here's a funny one. This is from the Sports Stove podcast, which is Vince. He's going to be on with us for the next few picks here in just a moment. But he commented on YouTube, Jared's showing more trust in Jerry Jones' drafting ability than the Packers, who have gone 39-9 of the last 3 seasons. That is a very fair point there from Vince, who is, in fact, a Packers fan. No reaction from Jared.
I mean, like,
you got the cheese head ready to go.
Listen, I gotta give Vince all the credit in the world. I pray for Packers fans every day because Mark Murphy's declared war on their mental state for the past 4 seasons. But it's like, I don't know how much they can just rely on Aaron Rodgers and some pieces on defense before they just all snap. I don't know. But listen, Vince, I love you. But listen, I have no faith in Jared. Are you kidding me? I'm loving this because I'm loving the fact that Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham are going to get home on this kid. Dak's going to be on his back a lot this year.
So, Chris, help me out here. I'm looking into the future. I'm going to pick 31. Talk about the Bengals. Right now, even odds, -115, whether it's an offense or a defensive player. Now, they're in a position they could just go best player available, so that's why I think it makes it interesting. But if you're the Bengals, what are you leaning towards?
I think it's going to be offensive line. I think that Joe Burrow is your future. That passing attack and Joe Mixon are your weapons. You need to continue to solidify the offensive line. There's definitely holes all through it, so I think that's where they need to keep their attention and should be focused on.
I tend to agree. All right, let's rewind here to the Ravens, who are still on the clock at the moment. We're trying to figure out what they should do. Now I know what I want them to do, and I'm going to put it this way too. If they take Linderbaum, I'm going to go to a fantasy standpoint here. J.K. Dobbins coming back off Achilles, Gus Edwards coming back. Yeah, guess what? Don't care about their injuries. They take Linderbaum and put him in the middle of that offensive line with what they have with Lamar Jackson right now. Dobbins shoots up easily to the high-end second round in my book, even with having to split time with Gus Edwards. What do you think, Andrew?
Well, I think we've seen that proven in the time that we've seen Dobbins and Edwards together, and just multiple running backs in the Ravens system in general. I think we've seen that they're committed to that type of style of play, and that you can have a guy be very successful and high-end talent in a fantasy standpoint, and Dobbins who can catch the ball and run the ball. I think it makes a lot of sense. So if they're going to shore up that offensive line, then yeah, Dobbins definitely could be a steal this draft if people are going to doubt him because of the injury.
Yeah, and that's why I think it'll be really interesting going through with that. And look, the Achilles injury, that is the one injury that can still put players behind a year. It still takes a longer time to recover, normally speaking. But now we've seen it with Cam Akers, who was able to come back and play 5-6 months later. Now, he wasn't Cam Akers himself that we're used to seeing being explosive and everything like that. But it's just amazing now that even with a running back coming off an Achilles injury, I'm not that concerned.
Fair.
I agree. I think J.K. Dobbins has proven that he's got the skill to where he can overcome it. As long as he's feeling close to 90%, I'd say I think he can make something happen out there. He can make some plays. He's a playmaker who likes the ball, and that's what you want on the field out there as a running back, especially in the type of offense that the Ravens run.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I love J.K. Dobbins. I think he'll definitely come back with today's recovery with surgeries. People, I think the injuries that used to kind of end people's careers or kind of make you lose a step or making it the same player rarely happen anymore. So I think this is a guy that could definitely bounce back. He got hurt early in the season last year. It wasn't like it happened late in the season. So he's got plenty of time to recover, plenty of time to kind of get used to getting hit again. So I love J.K. Dobbins moving forward.
So wait for this pick to officially come in as they're trying to announce it. Tennessee's on the board next. You guys won't be around for that. So what does Tennessee do now after all? Trading away A.J. Brown, taking Treylon Burks. What direction do they head in?
Do they attack the defense? I think that's the move. They have to. They couldn't stop anybody. Mike Vrabel turned into like the best chess player I've ever seen, besides his mentor Bill Belichick. I was like, I think what was it? They had 90 plus different players suit up for them last season.
Something along those lines. It was
an
unreal.
insane number. So maybe go get Jermaine Johnson, who's still, because they couldn't rush the passer. I think besides Harold Landry, I think they have nobody on the edge who can get after a guy. So if I'm Tennessee, I just say stop the madness, go get Johnson. Like it's time. It's pick 20.
They did it.
There it is.
They did it. Thank you, Ravens.
Makes
Me up
sense.
for Lamar. Sign me up for J.K. Dobbins. Sign me up for the entire Ravens offense. That's going to be one of the most dominant offensive lines in football next season. Go ahead, Andrew. Give me your reaction.
Yeah, no, everything we just touched on. Like the Ravens are going to be back to what we saw from them, 2 years ago. And obviously they weren't themselves last year with all the injuries, but the 2 years ago, between what they can do with Jackson and the dual running threat, it's going to open up some intermediate and short passing routes for the few receivers that they do have. So I do see the running game being the main factor of this offense for sure, and I see them being back to a playoff contender for sure.
Where can we follow you at, and what do you got working on next?
Yes, you can follow me at Real Mr. Mallard on Twitter. I'm going to be having pre-fantasy draft rankings starting next week. They'll be out every other week, and then once the season starts, I'll have weekly rankings that you can check out to get your start and sit questions out. And then if you're a golf fan, follow me on Divots and Pivots. I have a Divots and Pivots show as well. So golf show, wherever you fancy, I'm here for you.
All right, hold on. Actually, before we get to the rest of you guys, I got to hit this now. The Jets just traded into the first round. So I got to get you guys off the show real quick. So, Jared, where can we follow you at? What do you got working on next?
You can follow me at this name right here, Belly Up Jared, and also at Corner Booth Podcast. Right now, we're working on just getting a lot of nice guests in for the offseason, of course, because, post-draft, it gets a little slow. So, we're going to have a few guests. We're returning guys. We might do some fun stuff as well, but it's going to be a good time in the offseason.
And, Kev, what we got going on, man?
At Belly Up Kev or at Quad Tailgate. It's tailgate on the quad, not quad on the tailgate, like Dan said when I first got on. Still taking a break, probably coming back mid to late July to kind of do previews for the conferences.
Excellent. Guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We'll be talking to you all real soon. It was great having you. We got a next group of guests coming on to round out the first round, coming to a close. So everybody stay tuned to the Belly Up Sports' MD's Fantasy Football Show NFL draft coverage, and we'll be back with all of you right after this.
As summer begins to heat up, there's only going to be one way to cool down this season. I know when I hit the golf course, Yeti products keep my drinks cold until I tee it up at the 19th hole. I'm Andrew LeDuc from the Divots and Pivot Show on Belly Up TV. As we get back to normal and get back to the beach, the park, backyard barbecues, and the golf courses, you are going to want to be able to keep your drinks cool. Why not use the best products available for the job? By going to bellyupsports.com and hitting the Sponsors tab, you will have access to the best deals that Yeti has to offer. Yeti offers free shipping on orders $20 or more and qualifying orders that can arrive in 2 to 10 business days. They have the best coolers, the best tumblers, and everything else you could possibly need to enjoy life in the summer. So go to bellyupsports.com to get our link to access the best deals available today. And remember, free shipping on qualifying